right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Marakakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who we want to teach what, and I want to say shalom to the all full elect. All right, the title of the lesson is Don't Forget What Your Enemy Has Done, okay? All right, and your enemy, for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, is Esau, all right? Now, let me go ahead and jump to Genesis right quick. This is Genesis chapter 25, and I'm going to start at 22. And the children, all right, Jacob and Esau, and the children, Jacob and Esau, all right, struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord of Yahweh Shemashai. And Yahweh Shemashai said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. The one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Okay? My point in reading that is, well, yeah, that's it right there. My point in reading that is to show you that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians have an enemy. I'm going to keep going. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Okay. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him. All right. So, bam, right there, letting you know that Jacob and Esau, all right, have an issue with one another, and that's in these times you so-called white people, which are Edomites, and Jake, all right, you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native American Indians, all right, y'all are the Israelite sons of Jacob, all right. So right there, you already know something's going to go down within the history of you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and then this is why we should never forget what he has done to us. And when I say he, I mean Esau Edom. All right, so you know that he is our enemy, and you know, reading further in Genesis, I'm gonna just read it, because of the blessings that the Lord gave unto so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native American Indians, Esau hates us. Okay. This is Genesis chapter 27 and verse. All right, this is verse 41. All right, the Lord just blessed Jacob and Esau. Okay. Esau got the blessing that we're living in now, and Jacob, you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native American Indians, we got the blessing where what the Lord is going to put us in coming up forth soon. Yep, the brother posted here, the brother Amriyah, all right, he posted it on there, and I'm gonna read it. This is Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him, and I just explained what they were. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. All right, so the water for that precept, brother. All right, and so Esau has this perpetual hatred against you to slay you. All right, and slay means to kill. All right, put death. All right. So we're gonna go to Genesis 25:17, where it says the Lord was with this within the laws. Okay. All right, it says, remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when ye were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee, and we're gonna get that too, what happened. How he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee. All right. Slakia, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not the Most High. Therefore it shall be when Yahweh thy power has given thee rest from all thine enemies, which is coming up soon, all right, which we are working towards, okay? And working towards that means, changing your life around, all right, and also preaching his word to bring forth the kingdom, to seal the elect, okay? In a land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, which is the land of Israel, okay? Thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget. Okay. All right. We not supposed to forget, and which we won't, because the Lord's gonna put the law, statutes, commandments in our inward parts. Okay. And Lord will I remember to get it in the book of Obadiah, where Esau Edom not gonna be anymore. All right. So let's look up that word Amalek, okay, and see if we could tie it to Esau Edom. All right, that was in Deuteronomy, 25th chapter, and the 17th verse. All right, Amalek. All right, it says here Amalek in Strong's H6002. It says Amalek, dweller in the valley. All right, it says son of Eliphaz by his concubine Timnah, grandson of Esau, and the progenitor of the people in southern Canaan. All right, so the Amalek is the grandson of Esau. Okay, all right, so he's an Edomite. All right, and so now let's go into what Amalek did unto us. All right, so we're gonna jump into Exodus chapter 17, and we're gonna start at 14. If you read from 8 down to 14, all right, it's gonna tell you how Moses basically was commanded by the Lord to hold up his hands when they was out there fighting, and when Moses' hands was up, we would prevail, and when Moses' hands went down, we wouldn't prevail. So then Aaron and let me see, and her, okay, went up and helped hold up Moses' hands so that we would prevail. All right, so this is verse 14. This is Exodus 17 and 14. And no, I'm starting at 13. And Joshua discomfort Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. All right, that's what we're gonna do at the end of this war through the spirit power Yahweh Shai. We're gonna discomfort Esau with the edge of the sword. All right. But continuing on, verse 14, and the Lord Yahweh Shai said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. All right, and we just talked about how Amalek is a grandson of Esau, so he's an Edomite. Verse 15, it says, and Moses built an altar and called the name of it Yahweh Nisai. All right, and that means the Lord is my banner. Okay, and Yahweh the name of the Heavenly Father. All right, verse 16, it says, for he said, because Yahweh have sworn that he will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. All right, so the Lord's gonna have war with Esau from generation to generation. All right, and so is the Lord's people, you so-called Negro Latinos and Native American Indians, because if you go back to Genesis, all right, there's a struggle between the two, and that struggle, all right, is still going on now. The brother got Numbers 24 and 20. All right. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up this parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. All right. And that's what's going to happen to you, Edomites, man. All right. That's what's going to happen to y'all. The water for that precept, brother. All right. You know what? And I'm going to just get it. This is the book of Obadiah. And this is chapter 1, verse 18. All right. This is the Lord keeping his promise. All right. And we're going to be the edge of the sword. All right. Like Joshua had, and we're going to discomfort Esau, man. Okay. In the scriptures, it says that we are the Lord's battle axe. All right. In Ezekiel think it's the 25th chapter, where it says the Lord's going to have us take out his vengeance upon Edom. All right. So this is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18. In the house of Jacob shall be a fire, in the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, for they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh Shema shall have spoken it. Okay. So bam, right there, the end of Esau. All right. As the Lord promised that he would do, he's going to do so. All right. Let me see what I had in my mind. Oh, let me get First Samuel. This is First Samuel, the 15th chapter, and verse 1. Because, all right, just let me read it. So Samuel also said unto Saul, Yahweh Shema Shai sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, all right, which is Israel, over Israel, like he said. Now, therefore, hearken thou unto the voice of the words of Yahweh Shema Shai. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for them in the way when they came up from Egypt. All right, going back to Exodus, the 17th chapter. All right, Moses was in the beginning of that chapter. Moses struck the rock. Okay, all right, and gave Israel water, and then it went into the war. All right. Verse 3, it says, now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox, sheep, camel, and ass. Okay. And that's what we're going to do in the kingdom, according to what I just read in Obadiah 1 and 18. Okay. There's going to be nothing left with the remaining of Esau. But my point of reading this is to show you that the Lord didn't forget. Okay. And this was a time after. I can't specifically pinpoint the actual time, the amount of years, but this was some time between Moses and King Saul. Okay, and the Lord didn't forget, just like the Lord didn't forget the situation that we are in right now. Okay, all right. Let me see. I had some precepts written down. Let me double check and make sure. Okay, so speaking in the times of now. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 28 chapter. And I'm gonna start at 47. All right, so we went off. Okay, all right, we didn't keep the laws, so the Lord put us in a certain situation. All right, where we will be ruled over by the individuals that's been oppressing us. All right, the brother Amriyah. All right, he got Exodus 17 and 16. For he said, because Yahweh Shema Shai have sworn that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai will have war with Amalek from generation in generation. All right, and that's what's happening now. And then the war that Yahweh Shai is coming to bring to put the end of the rule of the Edomites into fruition. All right, into all actuality. All right, that's the war. That's when the war generation most likely will end, because Esau Edom is not going to be around. All right. Esau Edom is going to be through, okay? But going back into speaking about us, we disobeyed the words of Yahweh Shema Shai. So the Lord put us in certain situations, all right? Brother Amriyah, he got 2nd Maccabees 7:31. And thou that has been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hands of the Most High. Yep, that's right. That's right, brother. That damn devil is not going to escape the hands of the Most High, man. And this is what we have to believe in. This is what we have to hope in, because there's no way that we're going to go up against this man that has power of the whole earth that was given to him as a blessing. Okay, and the precept, continuing in 2nd Maccabees 7:32. All right, the things that we go through is because of our sins. It's like it says here. It says, "For we suffer because of our sins." So when we broke these commandments, because guess what? We committed idolatry, spiritual adultery. Okay, went after the ways of the other nations, their gods, took after their customs, so on and so forth. Okay, That's why we are suffering, like the brother put up there. All right. So continuing on, let me get this in Deuteronomy. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 47. Because thou servest not Yahweh thy power with joyfulness and with the gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. All right. Because we chose not to serve the Lord. All right. Because we chose to follow after the ways of the heathen. Okay. And become like the heathen and become an actual heathen. Therefore, thou shalt serve thy enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hungerness and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Thou shalt bring, Salakia Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. You know, the Europeans, right? All right. And it says, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. All right. And that's what Esau did not do. Okay. This is, and I'm going to read some instances in a few books I've been reading. This one I did some reading on it, some lessons on a few lessons ago. And this one, all right. Some things that Esau Edom has done to us because we transgress the ways of the Lord. But Jake likes to forget things and not try to relive the situations that their people have gone through by things Esau Edom puts out in the world to cause you to escape reality. But we have to remember these things that has happened unto us because the Lord remembers, okay? And the Lord's going to judge Esau based off the things that he has done. And just like the Lord's going to judge us and has judged us based off the things that we have done, okay? All right. While I was speaking that, let me see if I can find the scripture. Because we're going to get rewarded for what we do, whether good or bad, okay? Let me see if I can find that. All right, so this is 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Hamashiach, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he have done, whether it be good or bad. Okay, so these things that Esau has done to us, to the Lord's people, are some horrible things. Okay, all right. Let me see. There was another one. Let me see. No, okay, I'm good. So, all right, so just reading in the curses because we chose not to. Oh yeah, nah, brother. Shoot, you probably had it up there before I even read it. I've been looking down for a minute, so I couldn't see. But yeah, the water for that precept, I'm gonna read it again. All right, so this is 2 Corinthians 5 and 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Hamashiach, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he have done, whether it be good or bad. And that's the reason right there to fear the Lord, because judgment going out on just people getting judged left and right, man. Okay. But reasons why I'm going to say or read that we shouldn't forget what Esau has done to us. All right. So this book, it has things that has happened before you got to the actual slave ship boat. Okay, it speaks about their travels from after their villages was raided by it started talking off about the European slave trade first, but this instance for this lesson is about the European slave trade. Okay, that's it. Yeah, so the first one, Salakia started talking about the Arab slave trade. Okay, but why I'm bringing this, reading this stuff now is in regards to the European slave trade. Okay, but the Edomites took some of their tactics from the Arabs and their when they was doing their slave trade with Jake. Okay, within the slave trade with the Arabs, they read here that the males used to be castrated. All right, so they don't have any more offspring. Okay, so they would just try to cut off populate. They would make population control, and then they would rape the women. Okay, all right, same thing Esau did with his form of captivity when it came to catching Jake and putting Jake under pressure in hell. Okay, but I'm gonna read some of these pages in here, and some of the pages I'm going to be reading from a perspective where you are living as an actual slave, going through the process of the Middle Passage, from being raided to being walking the miles that you had to get to the fortresses or to the castles that they had on the west coast of Africa. All right, and then from you getting on the boat, I'm only going. That's the. And then when you get here to America, this is a part of being here on America, right? But let me just go ahead and start reading. It's like I'm just doing a lot of talking. So start at page 52. Got them written down. All right, so it says if you were caught in one of the raids, there were thousands of raids every year all over Africa, particularly West Africa, because that's where the Israelites were. All right, and you were a woman. This will happen to you if you was a woman. All right, you would be most likely sexually abused, rape, public and private, gang, and individual. So there was 4 types of rape, man. Okay, that Jake suffered from as a woman, and it's going to tell you more down here. Okay, so public rape, private rape, gang rape, and individual rape. Okay, was a primary form of disempowering a powerful and proud people. It was usually the first act after all were rounded up and shackled and yoked. Okay. Curses, shoot. Let me read some of these curses, man. Okay. All right, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Okay. My point in reading that is because these men, all right, these families, these Israelite families, okay. All right, yeah, I'm gonna grab that too, Octawada. Yeah, I'm gonna grab that. These Israelite families, okay, they had men and women and children, okay. So you have to understand that when these raids happen, their husbands were probably killed, the families separated, and just like we read, the people were rounded up and the women were raped, okay. So you'll have a wife, okay, and somebody else is gonna lay with her, like the scriptures say, okay. All right, yeah, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get these. Let me read these passages out of his book, and then I'm gonna get that. All right, so this is continuing on. It says Israelite men shackled, yoked, and held at gunpoint could only look on as their mother, daughter, sister, wife, relative, friend were put through some of the most degrading acts a human could do to another. All right. Children, all right, mind you, little children were sexually violated in the most brutal ways, often leaving them bleeding to death or racked with trauma, not to mention syphilis or gonorrhea. All right. Shit Esau does, man. Okay. All right. This is disgusting, man. Okay. This is all part of the slave trade. This is part of bringing you over here. This is some things that you shouldn't want to forget, man. Okay, because this man is your enemy. All right. This is so now this is from the perspective of the book where you are a slave on the ship. Okay. All right. All right. It says as you look down from once Aslaki. All right. It says as you look down from once beautiful. All right, Slaki. It says, as you look down from her once beautiful, now monstrous face, you see her stomach was crudely ripped open to show not only her bowels and her intestines, but also to show an Israelite fetus dangling on her umbilical cord. All right, it says, you want to turn away and throw up, but you can't. Something is forcing you to take in every detail, every swing of her body, every sound, every silence. There are many other sisters, girls, and women who are just as transfixed, all right? Who are remembering, who are never forgetting, all right? These are things that we must remember, all right? Look at this picture. That's what was being described in this little short paragraph, man. Okay, all right. Look at the little Israelite baby being hanging from the umbilical cord, and they did the same thing to Gad. Okay, if you read that book, "Devastation of the Indies," you would Edomites did this, man. Yeah, you're right, brother. The devil is gotta pay. He does gotta pay. Okay, there's another one. All right, here's another one. Just before nightfall, you are rushed up to the deck to witness another hanging. This time it is a young man, a Dinka man, who is hanging alongside Sister Translator, also hooked up through his tongue and the roof and the roofs and the mouth's roof, eyes bulging, screaming eyes. He's plucked with gunshots. His genitals have been crudely sliced off. Just like before, you want to turn away and throw up, but you can't. Something is forcing you to take in every detail, every swing of his body, their bodies, every sound, every silence. Just like before, there are many other sisters, girls, and women who are just as transfixed, who remembering, who are never forgetting. All right, don't forget these things. Look at this, man. Look at this. Can you see that, brother, in like detail? Can you see it? Look at that. Okay. My bad. I'm doing it reverse. But yeah. Look at that. Okay. Don't forget these things, man. And then you got that book, fuck is that book called, man? With all the lynchings and hangings, man. Okay. Forgot the name of that book, but it was all the lynching and hangings of you jakes, man. Okay. Where they send postcards of you to different people, take your genitals and take your body parts and send it off. All right. I forgot the name of that book though. Let's see. All right, and this is something we all know and all makes sense and have heard of before. But it says something to think about. During the 5 centuries of the transatlantic slave trade, the population and migratory practices of Atlantic sharks changed dramatically. All right, so it's speaking to you about the sharks. Yeah, strange fruit. That's yeah. I got the book. I haven't seen it. Like I don't remember. I haven't seen it in a while. It's on my bookshelf. I just haven't looked at it. But I don't think that's the name of the book, brother. But I know what it means. Strange fruit. Because we not supposed to be hanging on trees. We strange from the trees hanging on there. Dang, I'm gonna try to remember that book. But continuing on, it says there were disproportionately more sharks, and they followed the hundreds of slave ships crisscrossing the Atlantic and the Caribbean. All right, this has resulted in today's Atlantic shark being quantitatively and qualitatively different from the Pacific sharks. They have acquired more of a taste for human flesh than their Pacific kin. So the sharks, all right, the sharks have that taste for blood because Jake was trying to escape. Jake was being thrown overboard after their death in whatever way may have they have died. Jake was through, man. We really pissed the Lord off, man. We really did the Lord dirty. That's why the Lord did us this way, man. Okay. And there's more in this book. I just haven't read it all. But I'm going to read some pages out of here. Let me get this brother's precepts, because he got a bunch of them. All right. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat. Okay. That's the land of judgment, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land. All right. The Arab slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. Okay. All right. Uh, and they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot and a girl, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. All right. I'm trying to see. I remember at the beginning of this book. Trying to see where it was. Oh, right here it says this is not my point, but it says right here, it says this book is about never forgetting that experience. All right, the experience that our people went through, that at beginner's level, you know. I'm gonna try to find this point that I was reading about earlier, where the brother had that precept. I know it's gonna take me forever to find it. I can't find it, but it was speaking about in there how, just like you said here in the scripture. All right, in this one, Salakia. No, was it this one? Salakia. Yep, Joel 3:3. How Jake was traded for merchandise. Okay, all right. But the brother got some more precepts up here. All right, this is Job 20:11. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. All right, all the atrocities that Esau has committed against the Lord's people, they're gonna be with that man forever. All right, but we can't forget these things, and our people tend to do so. All right, this is Job 21:29. Have ye not asked them that go by the way, and do ye not know their tokens? That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction, that they shall be brought forth to the day of wrath. Okay, right? Because Esau Edom is that wicked man. Who shall declare his way to his face, and who shall repay him for what he have done? Okay, and the Lord's going to do that. If you could post Revelation 18, brother, where it says he's going to receive double, give unto her double. All right, yeah, Esau's going to receive what it is that he have done, man. Okay. All right, and we're going to get some precepts to back that up right quick. There's one I had at the end, but I'm going to just bring it out now. No, I'm going to save that one for the end. right, this is Numbers 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defiled the land. All right. And you got Jake's blood dripping everywhere throughout these four corners of the globe, man. Okay. And as you know, you other nations have a lot to do with that too, not just Esau. All right. Verse 30, continuing in verse 33. For blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. And that's going to be Esau Edom's recompense, okay? All right? That's how the Lord's going to pay you back, by putting you to death because you put his people to death in horrible, horrendous ways, okay? And the brother got it up there for me, all right? The water. It says, Revelation 18 and 6, Salakia, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, and the cup which she had filled to her double. All right, and we're gonna do that, man. There's gonna be double in righteousness. The water, okay. So I got a few stories I'm gonna read here on Jake, all right, and what they went through after their captivities in West Africa, from being raided to being brought into the castles or the fortresses that they were stuck in. All right, and then going into how this is what followed next. They went into the slave ships, okay, and then from the slave ship they were here they were brought to Europe, West Africa. South America, okay, or North America. All right. And these are stories from Jake in, North America. All right, this is page 104 in this book, River of Blood. All right, it says, there were plenty white folks that was so bad to the niggers, and especially them overseas. A nigger would live what lived on the plantation, joining our shots and kill an overseer. Then he run away. It's like it's written how those people spoke. So it's kind of different. He came to the river and seed a white man on the other side and say, "Come and get me." Well, when they got him, they found out what he done and was gonna burn him alive. All right, Judge Clements, the man that kept the law and order, said he wouldn't burn a dog alive, so he left. So the police at that time, that cop around that area, he left and let the Jake get burned. But the point is here, but they showed burn that nigga live, for I see him after he was burned up. So Jake used to get burnt up. All right, Jake got annihilated, destroyed by Esau Edom, man. Okay, and these other nations. All right, I'm gonna just read it straight on the point on this one. Now, the first work I'm gonna just read it all. The first work I done in slavery was toting water and dinner to the field hands and ground gourd buckets. We didn't have 10 buckets then. The hands worked from sun to sun. And if the overseer see them slacking, he'd cuss them and sometimes whack them with a bullwhip. I see them whip till their shirt stuck to their back. I see my mammy whipped for something, for shouting at white folks meeting. And master stripped her to the waist and whipped her with a bullwhip. Heaps of them was whipped just because they could be whipped. Some owners fed their hands. It's like it. Some owners have fed their hands and then whipped them for begging for grub. All right, that's what happened to Jake, man. That's horrible. All right. This is Judith 5:17, the brother Amriyah. All right, he putting up that fire. He got this. It says, and whilst thou sin not before their their power, they prepared. I mean, so like they prospered because they hated iniquity and was with them. So like it. So this is one of those generals talking to that, I think, Holofernes before Judith went in there and basically cut his head off, right? Because he was trying to invade Jake, all right? But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, at the Wadi Habashim al-Shah, forgive me that knowledge of understanding on that, right? That they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, all right? So when we departed from the Lord, we got fucked up. And were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. All right, that's what the Lord did to us because we transgressed the ways of Yahweh Shem Al Shai. All right, and just because Esau is doing that now, we're going to do Esau the same way. All right. We had Jake in here. I was reading how Jake only had one pair of shoes. And when the shoes ran out, they had to just tie it together. Like what was worn till they couldn't really wear it no more. They had to try to tie it together. All right. You had Jake that, was some of the kids got to play with the master's kids, okay? And then I was reading in there that Jake got to play with the kids, but at night the kids got to sleep in big beds and Jake had to sleep on pallets, And then there was one instance in there where Jake had a rag doll, a literal rag doll, which is tied string up with some rags, and it was a doll. They used it as a doll, and the other kids had these nice dolls, but Jake was treated like shit, man. That's where this is what you have to remember. These things like this is what you have to remember, because the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai ain't forget these things, man. Okay. All right, so this is another story about Jake, all right, and their living conditions, okay. It says we lived close to the meanest owner in the country, Salakia. Our master wouldn't keep no overseer because he says niggas wasn't dogs. But this other man, he keeps overseers to beat the niggas, and he has the big leather bullwhip with lead in the end. All right, so I'm gonna look up a bullwhip because I don't know. I know what I think it looks like, but I don't know what the hell it looks like. All right, cool. This is a bullwhip. All right. And it says here he has the big leather bullwhip with leads in the end. All right, so at the ends of the bullwhips, there's lead. All right, and he beats some slaves to death. All right, it says we heard them holler and holler till they couldn't holler no more. Then they just sort of grunt every lick till they die. We find big streams of blood where he has whooped them. And when it rained, the whole top of the ground just looked like a river of blood there. Sometime he niggers, and sometime the law come out and make him bury them. He put them in chains and stockades, and sometimes he will buck and gag them. All right. The mamas, what expecting babies was whooped to make them work faster. And when babies was sick, they had to put them in the basket on top of their heads and take them to the cotton patch and put them under the cotton stalks and try to tend to them. Lord, Lord, these was awful times. Esau, you gotta pay for that, man. Hey, and Lord will, it is edifying. It's all through the spirit, you know. But woman couldn't even take care of their sick kids, man. They had to go to the plantation and work. Esau, you gonna get that, man. That's what's gonna be your judgment, but it's gonna be 2 times, man, double. It's gonna be worse, okay? It's gonna be horrific for you, okay? And all the bloodshed that you spill, okay, it's on your head, man. All right, we just waiting for the Lord to put the spirit in us to do His will, man. Okay, which is to destroy you. All right. I think this is it. Yeah, this is Exodus chapter 21. This is my last precept, and then we'll close out. This is Exodus 21 and 12. It says, "He that smiteth a man so that he die shall surely be put to death," and that's your reward. Esau, death. Okay. And it's all through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai. You white people, y'all going into slavery. Okay? That's your judgment. All right? These other nations are too, but when it's said and done with Esau, you can be the one, okay, that's destroyed forever. So we got to remember what our enemy has done to us. All right? We can't forget what our enemy has done to us, man. All right? You know, the scriptures say, you know, your heart shall meditate terror, but you got to know why you can be meditating terror, man. Okay? Because of the oppression that your enemy has put upon you. All right, look at the oppression that he's put upon you now, man. He's forced medical advice. Okay, all right. Piss poor education, not teaching you who you are, taking your heritage, poisoning you with food, chemtrails, water, information. Okay, uh, you know, taking your family from you, splitting up the family with the welfare system, women ruling over men, you know, children, you know, being unruly, all right, fiscal, all right, or monetary usury, okay, you know, I already know what the lies upon lies, okay. I'm trying to think of anything else, you know. Yeah, this man is the devil, man. Okay, in every way, form, and fashion of that word. Okay, the brother Amriyah, he got Psalms 149:6. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth and the two-edged sword in their hand to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishment upon the people. And that's what y'all gonna receive, man, at the hands of the men of Yahweh Shema Shai. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with, I need glasses, man. And their noble, I'm tripping. It's like you. And their nobles with fetters of iron, all right, chains and shackles, right, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh Shema Shai. And that's a great honor to be a part of, man. To slay your enemies, all right, to know what it is that they did to you, you and your past lives, your family members, what they did, who did it, how they did it, you know, when they did it, who was with them when they did it, who watched, who saw, who didn't help, you know. You're gonna know all that, you know, and you're gonna exact the vengeance that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai has for your enemies upon the heads of those that hate the Lord, okay? All right, because they hate the Lord, they hate you, and because they hate you, they hate the Lord, okay? If that makes sense. But Lord William was edified, all right, the water brother, Yahweh Shema Shai Barakatah, Yahweh Shema Shai Barakathum to, you know, the individuals that may listen in the future, okay? Lord William edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Shema Shai, by Shem HaWakak. I want to give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who will teach well, and I want to say shalom to the whole elect, Kwam Yasharala, and Wafla Bar. Shalom. Shalom, Ma, Tawada, Yahabashima, Shabrakata, Shalom.